Videndum Media Solutions. It used to be Vitec. What happened?
CineD, your digital cinema tech resource, supported by B&H and CVP.
Hi, I'm Johnny from CineD, and I'm here with Marco Pezzana, CEO at Videndum Media Solutions. How are you, Marco?
Great, thank you. And you?
I'm always good. Thank you very much.
Great to see you 3 years after.
Exactly, it's after 3 years.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And Carr, he's the CMO of Videndum Media Solutions.
You're going to get that name right.
I have to get this name right. And we are here. It's actually a very nice setup that the guys made at IBC. And I would love to catch up after such a long time, ask a few questions, because obviously in this period of time, a lot have happened also for you guys. Yeah. So, Marco, Videndum Media Solutions. It used to be Vitec. What happened?
What happened is that the world of content creation has really accelerated the process of transformation during pandemic, in that I think multiple formats of creativity have really exploded because we were all forced to be apart. So all the human interactions that used to be in person have suddenly become digital content. And that has gone all the way from the most professional end of the industry to the early day content creator. And that meant that from a technology standpoint, our company had to embrace that wider scope of content creation, moving beyond photography, where we were born, to videography, which is something that we did already since about 20 years, and more recently into, let's say, phonography and audio. So all of a sudden this company became much more than Manfrotto Photo Support where we were born, but it became a company that moved up into diverse direction to encompass all the different formats of media content that a creator could produce. The ambition is the same: enable those creators to achieve that content to the greatest level of quality and to the greatest degree of creativity, to help them stand out in a crowd that has become probably very wide, but also so much more engaging than ever before. And this is why, from imaging, media better represents what we stand for as a company these days.
And the actual name, from Vitec to Videndum, why that happened?
Videndum is, in essence, a proposition that tells everything that we engage with as a company must be seen. So I would say it's still very much centric on products and technology, but it also encompasses more of an emotional and creative aspect, which is the direct engagement with the end user that we try to serve.
Chris, it seems like the media solution, Videndum Media Solutions, is doing a lot, and the scope of companies that you have now is really amazing. Some of them are really, or most of them are leading in our industry. But please correct me if I'm wrong. It seems as if you are kind of emphasizing audio now. Why is that?
Well, put simply, there's no great video without great audio. Audio is a natural adjacency to us. We always keep our users at the heart of what we do. And actually, with Rycote and now Audix, we found a lot of symmetry in terms of the content creation that was being made. And we all know that the content creators and the independent content creators out there, where you used to have a sound guy separately, and you used to have a photographer separately and videographer, they're all coming together. So on one hand, we have on camera audio with the create area that's very much focused and coming to the fore. But equally in broadcast with Rycote and Rycote expanding into there. But then as we move into live performance with Audix, we have a symmetry where Manfrotto has always existed in those stages and those sets over the years. So the adjacency was natural. We never want to expand ourselves into something we don't feel is very much our heartland. And audio was that natural adjacency to the video and the visuals that we produced before.
Marco, so if you're emphasizing audio right now, what happened to the traditional stuff? The bags, for example, or tripods. Are you still innovative in this area too?
Absolutely. Innovation is the core of what we are. So obviously, just by visiting IBC today, you can see across the very categories that you mentioned, starting from lighting supports with the Buccaneer, moving to our photo and video supports with the complete new Manfrotto ecosystem, and then in bags with our new Pro Light range, also for video application. Innovation is really what we stand for, and it is mandatory because the way content is produced continues to evolve, and we need to capture those needs, and we feel the urgency more and more to actually simplify the workflow for the creators. Chris just commented that there is no phenomenal video without proper audio, in the same way that photography is not fantastic if lighting wasn't brilliant. Now, I really remember the times when all of those were different industries, and you had highly specialized, competencies to manage one and the other. As those technologies merge, we take it as a priority for the accessories industry to simplify those complex areas of application. Because in reality, what we want is to enable the creators to fully focus on that creative process and try to make sure that the gear is not in the way, but actually becomes a helpful companion to achieve your result. And this is where I think driving that integration, not only within one sub-segment, but try to develop ecosystems that provide that additional quality without having to be a specialist in a given sub-segment as a creator, is probably the future, as that creative process brings together the combination of lighting, audio, video, and still photography into one creative proposition. So I don't think we will ever stop inventing across all the categories.
Chris, because Marco was mentioning segmentation, post-pandemic, what is your main market now? It's more about independent content creators, or let's say studios or bigger production houses that are actually catering Netflix, for example?
I think, well, actually we have four major drivers, and actually we're very pleased that those four major drivers are all growing in a fantastic way. But rather than looking at segments in terms of where the content's produced, if we think about the type of content produced, the first segment we have is internet, and not just internet because that's been around for a long time, but people are producing more and more content for shopping on internet via e-commerce. So they're trying to replicate that in-store experience, and we're seeing a big growth in that segment. So that's point number one. Point number two is very much those social channels, TikTok and YouTube, that we're addressing from high to low in terms of people that are monetizing, but equally the full spectrum of those, and that's equally in strong growth. We have scripted TV, whereas in scripted TV, Netflix, Disney, and everything with Avenger and our very professional and CineD products, it fits very sensibly. And then lastly, we have the streaming services. And within streaming, along with the rest of Videndum, we have a big part to play for us in gaming, but equally with our Avenger product fits in there as well. So those four areas are the major drivers for the group, and in fact they drive about 75% of our business, and luckily for us are in strong growth and continue to be.
Nice. Just to clarify, you're talking about the Videndum Media Solutions or the group as Videndum in general?
Well, actually for the first time we have those four drivers driving the whole group, but for us it's well over 70% in our division on its own. So our division is about 75% driven from those four areas, but it's very similar for the group. Now we have different weightings, and that's the power of having three divisions. So for example, on streaming, Creative Solutions with the Teradek product there are a lot higher percentage in that area, whereas with the studios and internet, we're a lot higher percentage, and of course the social channels with Joby, we're a lot higher there. So it's consistently those four drivers, but the weighting depends on the division.
If I may, Johnny, I think what drives that collective participation is that all of those segments over pandemic have escalated not only the volume being produced, but the quality of the content being produced. Chris started off talking about the internet. If you remember the early days on Amazon or on social, the quality of the content being published was truly mediocre and not designed strategically to really drive superior engagement. Now all of that quality has enhanced dramatically, and this is where as a group and as a division we strive to make a difference. So the moment any type of production, regardless of the channel flow, requires superior execution, this is where we kick into it.
Marco, satisfy my curiosity, and let's look a little bit into the future. What should we expect? What is next for you guys? How can you still surprise us, if I may ask?
Well, there is something that fascinates me. We've been talking about 4 streams of content creation, and what we've seen over the years is that whatever happens to the global economy, visual content consumption continues to grow, and I cannot see anything different going forward. In that sense, obviously the next big step in content creation is the metaverse, and I can tell you that we've all recently been to school to learn more about the metaverse as a management team, because clearly this will be an integral part of our future as an industry going forward. This is where I think the biggest surprises will come, not tomorrow, but within the next 5 to 10 years.
Now it makes me thinking, as a platform for content creators, if I need to do the same course, because obviously this looks so far away from me in many, many ways, metaverse.
But you see, Johnny, we've all seen the development of the internet that took about 20 years to transform humanity. Obviously today's for the metaverse, it's probably early days, but it is bound to transform the way we all live within 10 years from now. So it's time to go to school.
It's time to go to school. Well, if I do go to school, one of the things that I will take with me would be my smartphone. We can't avoid it. The smartphone companies do have a lot of money to invest in R&D. Some of the traditional camera manufacturers, simply cannot compete in terms of R&D money. Where is the media solutions? How do you tackle this? How is smartphone photography? How much weight do you put in this?
Well, I think first of all we shouldn't ignore it, because actually it's enabling a lot more people to be creative with content, and at the heart of it we're trying to empower people to be creative with content. So we still see a thriving market in that professional space. We estimate there's around 15 million professional users out there that are operating from behind the camera and generating content. Whereas the smartphone creators of the world, they're not only everything on set, they're quite often the actor as well, so they're doing it from in front of the camera. But these people are enabling an access to content creation that you and I didn't have when we grew up, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And a number of those are challenging techniques, and a number of the innovation we're seeing in the professional area is from these people developing content freely or uneducated in a way to find fantastic new content mediums today. So for me, I think we should embrace it. I don't think it lowers the professional side. It enables more content creation to then flow into that side. And how do we address it? Well, we have numerous different brands, and obviously Manfrotto is at the heart of that professional community. Jitso is at the heart of that framing outdoor wildlife community. But Joby is at the heart of that creative community, and that's where we'll address it by both embracing it and also embracing, as Marco said, developing products in the professional segment as well. So we shouldn't avoid it. It should be something we embrace, because I think it's a big fuel for growth for every part of our industry. I like to say that, in Videndum, we're probably one of the only people that can meet Steven Spielberg as a child and still work with him in 30 years' time, where he's producing massive film sets. And for us, that's very important, to help people with that content creation at the start.
John, to complement that, I actually think that pandemic was very helpful to the entire industry of content creation, because there has been a time prior to pandemic where constantly enhancing features of phones cannibalize the more entry-level cameras, creating a lot of channel conflict, confusion in the end user mind, multiple price points, whereby, the entire industry was a little bit at a stall point. Actually, during pandemic, phone features and the ability of everyday people to interact with them accelerated dramatically, whereby the camera segment refocused on more professional application. And I think today it's very, very tidy, meaning that, let's say, the prosumer industry and the beginner content creator are now fully devoted to phones, where you can actually learn more and more easily about content creation and progress up to the point where you start monetizing. And when you start monetizing and you're really pro, actually compact system cameras are your perfect companion, where photo and video are merged together into something that is still portable. And eventually, as you progress, you will end up discovering the more professional photo and video cameras that you still need if you operate at that level. So I think both from a distribution standpoint, a technology standpoint, and as an end user experience, the industry has become clearer, more transparent, easier to progress within, and that's more exciting than it was before. And likewise, we as a company have actually dedicated specific brands and specific channels to accompany that journey, which is probably the best setup that I've seen in the industry for so many years. So I think it has been ultimately beneficial to all of us.
Can we summarize and agree that interesting times ahead?
I actually think there hasn't been a better time for us in the industry, because we have decoupled from the notion that the industry was attached to the volume of cameras sold. Now the industry is attached to the quality and the diversity of content being created. That is growing exponentially across segments, as Chris explained, and I cannot think of any other word than growth for the future, where yes, the nature of the content might evolve again, and the metaverse is certainly one stream, but it will continue to prosper. So we are part of a phenomenal industry where we just need to keep ourselves constantly in touch with how technology and the end user will continue to create in different formats and different streams. But it is a very prospering part of the world to be. So very exciting.
Good. And on this positive note, because we could actually speak almost forever. I mean, we do this with passion. We love this. So if you don't mind, I have to end.
Absolutely.
And I would like to thank you both. Marco, thank you very much for your time. Chris, always a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Great to see you, and let's hope IBC is the success that we're seeing for all the participants at this phenomenal event.
Absolutely.
Great to be back for real.
Thank you. Thank you. Guys, and thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.